Yeah. Okay, so maybe I'll start off with this question. Uh, can you tell us a little bit more about like your concession business in a manner that, how do you win this sort of concession tender? And again, what separates you from your peers in winning these tenders? I would believe this could be like some of those government tenders and all that also, right?
Correct. Now, I mentioned earlier the concession that we are currently holding, yeah, for the federal government common user buildings in the southern zone. Okay, um, it's for 10 years, effective from 1st of January 2016 to 31st of December 2025. But critically, we were actually the incumbent being re-awarded, okay, but through a competitive tender, okay, undertaken by the government when our first 10 plus 5 years that we pioneered came to an end in 2013. Okay, so competitive tender. But what made our tender bid stand out against competitors was our critical asset refurbishment program that we lumped together with the concession. So this demonstrates our ability to think and execute outside the box. Okay, whereas everyone else were submitting tenders purely for the integrated facilities management of the buildings, but we went one step further, okay, by including a critical asset refurbishment program in our submission. Okay,
Right.
just like a lot of our other projects, we talked about Hospital Shah Alam, okay, where we were recently awarded 5 years the hospital facilities maintenance, yeah, effective from 1st of January this year for 5 years. That's worth 107 million ringgit. Okay, but again, this is a case where we were also the incumbent for this for a 3 plus 2 years period. Okay, um, towards the end, this contract, the initial contract, expired in December of last year. Prior to that, in August of last year, Ministry of Health actually opened a competitive tender again, which we participated. So we were, of course, measured not only by our commercial terms and conditions, but also the merits of our ability and capability over the 5 years period that we had been the incumbent. So we feel that our ability to secure projects for the facilities division, okay, is largely because not just of our rapport, but more importantly, our ability to deliver. And if you look at our annual report, yeah, we have won quite a number of recognition from the Ministry of Works, yeah, KKR, because all the buildings under their care are audited. Yeah, they audit all their buildings, and we were given merits, yeah, award number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 placing. Do look at those in our latest annual report, okay, or even in the previous year's annual reports. So this clearly demonstrates our capability, the merit of our ability to deliver. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Richard. So a follow-up question. So the definition of order book sort of varies from industry to industry, right? So, for instance, in the construction sector, an order book of 1 million, sorry, an order book of 100 million, it will be very dependent on how much of the construction you progress throughout the year. But I
Right.
believe that in the facilities management segment, the order book is, would it be correct if I say it's like by contract basis, an on annual contract where you service your client?
That's right. Okay,
Okay.
our order book 957 million as at 1st of January 2021.
Mm-hmm.
This number represents unbilled contracts.
Okay. All
Okay,
right. And
so if nothing else happens, meaning assuming zero replenishment, you will see this 957 order book, okay, dropping in and being recognized as we fulfill our deliverables, as we progress with our projects.
Okay. And from what you mentioned earlier in the presentation, we know that the 555 concession on the government tenders had been completed for about 5 to 6 years, and the balance is 59 million for the next 4 to 5 years. And then you also have the hospital Shah Alam just now, which you mentioned is going to be completed in the next 4 years. So that kind of like comes up to about 350 million of your 600 million order book. So I guess just like what Wei Xiang is asking here, your 600 million order book is over how many years? Or maybe let me rephrase this question: per annum basis for the next 3 to 5 years, how much are you looking to collect your unbilled revenue?
Sure. I think there's been some confusion in this number. Okay, 600 million order book is just solely order book under our facilities segment. Okay.
Yes.
And of this 600 million, 346 million is under our concession and critical asset refurbishment program. Okay, we just started year 6, so it's good for another 5 years. So the balance therefrom is 255 million. Yep. So these 255 million would include the likes of Hospital Shah Alam, 107 million. Okay, and remainder will be from our other projects, such as what we also announced, Bintulu Port Authority. Okay, small little contract there, but small nevertheless. Sikit-sikit, lama-lama, jadi bukit, right? So for the total order book, 600 million. Okay, from which 346 million is under the concession and under critical asset refurbishment program, good for another 5 years. The remainder, what we call the non-concession, made up of projects like our Putrajaya, MCMC building, Palace of Justice, Prime Minister's Office, Cancer Institute, National Cancer Institute, right? And Hospital Shah Alam, Harriet Ward, and a series of other projects as well. Those will make up 255 million ringgit. Okay, and typically for non-concession contract tenures, anywhere between 2 to 5 years. Okay, so if I had to give you a number of this 254 million, okay, or 255 million non-concession order book, okay, more than half of it is good for almost 5 years. The rest will be recognized, okay, over the course of the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Get it?
Good. Okay, Ming Tek.
Yeah, I think that one was a very good question. So, okay, maybe I don't want to jump to the financial. Is the because that's my burning question, the hike in the concession in terms of the margin. Let me see. What is the? So maybe can you share with us more detail on what is the actual thing that is being done in the facilities management, because it's very broad, right? And how is it being done? Do you sub out any of the business, and do you also actually include any engineering work inside? Because I know there was reburnishment activity, so that's a bit of engineering there. So maybe you can explain more in depth, like what is the actual thing that is being done?
Okay. Integrated facilities management. I think a lot of us will be very aware of the most basic what we call cleansing. Yeah, cleaning your 5-foot way, landscaping, watering your plants, etc. Okay, but those are all the very menial ones. But menial as it is, okay, they form part and parcel of integrated facilities management. The more technical bits, yeah, maintaining of the lift course, or even changing out the entire lift shaft, right? These, of course, we do not have in-house expertise. So we work closely with the principals, yeah, such as the likes of Hitachi Lace, Otis, Toshiba Lace, right? So we work with local representatives in some of the projects involving retrofitting or rehabilitation. We also spoke about central air conditioning. We don't manufacture water cooling towers for the central air conditioning. So again, in these instances, we work with the principals or suppliers. Okay, and in certain instances, yeah, we have to sub it out. We do not have that expertise in-house to carry out these jobs. It's not different from a property developer. They design a property, they launch a property, but do they have, at the most, they may have architects in-house. Yeah, they may have project managers in-house, but they don't need to own the entire supply chain, right? They don't manufacture concrete, right? They don't manufacture the steel beams, right? So we are not too different, okay? But we do have a lot of skilled engineers under our employment who are responsible for their areas of specialty. Because within each building, besides what I mentioned, the most basic and rudimentary services, cleansing, landscape, there's also the electrical elements of a building. And you need an electrically qualified person, okay, to be part of our team managing each building is a requirement.
Okay.
Okay.
So in this instance, right, am I correct to say, just to get a more in-depth picture, it's sort of like the condo management, but you guys are like really like different level, but you collect the fees, whether you do it, whether you do the job right or don't do the job right, the fees will be collected. But there will be many complaints. Let's say if you don't do it well, there will be many complaints, and maybe when the concession ends, they can replace you. Am I correct to say, no matter what, you're going to receive money?
Correct.
But of course, you want to do a good job.
Well, this is where, like I said, we are subjected to audit by the Ministry of Works. Okay, the audits have a long list of KPIs. Okay, daily, weekly, monthly. If we do also, you get the fees. Yes, they will make deductions.
I see.
KPIs.
How about politics situation? Let's say if the government change and then different people are inside, I don't know who decides to give the concession, like how they pick. But let's say if it's a different government, different people in the position, does that play in any factor at all? Do you think so? Or if it's a specific question, then
we believe AWC is apolitical. We are a business. Yeah, we have a Bumi status, right? But if you look back, when the first concession awarded as part of the pioneer privatization, yeah, who was in the government then? Barisan Nasional. Who was our prime minister then? Dr. Mahathir. Right? When our concession expired in 2013 and a tender was called for, yes, the government was Barisan Nasional. Who was prime minister then? Mr. Najib. Okay? Now, fast forward to our most recent win, Hospital Shah Alam. Okay? Who is the government? PN. Who is the Prime Minister? Muhyiddin. Right? So this demonstrates that regardless of the government, buildings still need to be maintained. Okay? We participate in a tender. Okay? We win some, we lose some. Okay? But those that we win, we believe we won based on the merits of our capability. All right? So, change of government again. We still have to bid for jobs as they come along.
Understand.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question. Can I ask first, Randy?
Yep, sure. Go ahead.
So you said this year you managed to secure additional 200 million in terms of the order book.
Sure.
So this one may include even those facility management, the hospital, and also include. So it's a mixture. It could be
Yes.
environment plus facility management.
We never provide a breakdown because otherwise there'll be too much info going out lah. Okay, so we typically report replenishment as a group. Okay, so as a group, our replenishment for the 6 months period up to 31st of December 2020, 208 million replenishment. I already said half of that hospital Shah Alam, right? So the remainder is also, some are from facilities, okay? There are some from the engineering division, okay? Some are from the environment division, and some from the rail division. So it's across the group.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So, but then the minimum margin we can expect mixture of the margin will be about 7 to 10%.
As a group, our net margin, we are Patami lah. We are looking at internally, our barometer is 7%. Okay, as long as it stays above 7%, everybody is happy as a group. Okay, if it slips below 7%, I will have more work on my hand. I need to dive down deeper with my team. Look at what has happened. Okay.
Got it.